Hello, can someone acknowledge? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Right. So I would like to continue with the Tessent Tool. Yes, the last class we have seen how to analyze a combo logic, how to apply the test pattern, how to invoke the Tessent Tool, generate the test vector, apply that, and see the reports. How many test vector has been applied, and how many test vectors has been used for detecting the fault, what is the fault coverage, all these things we have been looking for combo logic. The second part of our discussion, what we are going to do is, I am just trying to show you another one more exercise on which we could apply this ATPG on the sequential network. So typically we have seen this in the theory classes, like by insertion of replacing the flip-flop with the scan flip-flop, we could do it. More or less, we are going to do the same thing. So let's try to look into that, how it happens. So meanwhile, I have kept all the documents in the folder. Probably you can access this from the Google Drive. And one more thing is, I have also given the assignment, DA digital assignment. Please look into that and stick on to the, I believe it has been over, right? Time or 10th is the last date. Okay, please stick on to the timing. Right, now the second task is about scan insertion and test pattern generation for the sequential circuit. Now we are going to take a sequential circuit. Now for our analysis, I am just going to work on with the S298 benchmark circuit from the ISCAS 189. There are a list of circuits in the ISCAS 89. You can just Google it, and it has all the list of benchmark circuits. Out of that, we have taken one, that is S298. For the second part of the DA or DA2, we will be coming up with a few more benchmark circuit. So you can just go to this website and see what are the list of benchmark circuits available, and you can even open those benchmark circuits and see what is there, how are they being described. Just for a sample, I'm just showing one for you, like yeah. If you go with ISCAS, so ISCAS S189 benchmark circuit, these are the list of benchmark circuits which has been listed out here. Out of this, we are just looking into S298 benchmark circuit. In fact, these are the list of benchmark circuit listed out here. I wish you need to go to all, I mean, you just go to these benchmark circuit one by one. Of course, this ISCAS also has from combination circuit also. So basically, this is from NCSU University, which has been deposited this. You can use it for all your academic purpose. So yes, 298. Let me try to look into what is being given here. Yeah, this is the benchmark circuit of 298. So here you could see what are the components used here, how many flip-flops. So you could see there are 14 flip-flops, 44 inverters, 75 gates, all this. So input how many, output how many, and this is basically a gate level description. So that's what you could see, all the gate level descriptions have been given for all the primitive gates. So these are the gates which has been used, which has been given with appropriate node connection. Right. So now coming back to our discussion. So what are we going to do is, like where are we taking? Yeah. So we are going to analyze this circuit S298, which is a benchmark circuit in ISCAS 189, and the total circuit technology is 65 nanometer technology. Because you can also see some other with the 45 nanometer technology from different library people from different universities. If you Google it, you could also get those 45 nanometer. Even sometime some of the university does that. Sometimes some fab does that. So you can even make a look into this. Right. So now we are going to take this, and if it is having flip-flop, of course it is a sequential circuit, definitely it is expected to have a handful number of flip-flops. Now from our side we are supposed to replace all the flip-flops with the scan flip-flops. That's what a scan chain represent, so as to make it as testable or observable. So first we will take this circuit, replace that with the scan flip-flop, then apply ATPG for that particular circuit. Once you replace scan flip-flop, I mean flip-flop by a scan flip-flop, then it becomes a normal combo logic where you can apply a set of test vectors generated. Probably the test vector could be a deterministic test vector. So you can apply them on this combo circuit and get the response and decide how many fault has been covered using this test vector. So basically whatever we have done with respect to combo logic like fault coverage could also be done for the sequential circuit. In fact, that is what we are trying to do in this. So yeah, so these are the works which we are going to do. Like first we are going to insert the scan, means replace all flip-flop with the scan flip-flop, and then using ATPG generate the test pattern, apply the test pattern, and once you apply the test pattern, get the response from that and see what is the fault coverage. Right, that's what we are going to do. Like in combo logic, we have made, no, I have said you can execute the whole process by executing a single command like do file, invoking a do file. In fact, you can go there and alter the do file also. Regarding this, I have kept two more manuals. I wish you need to go through that also. I will show you here. I have also kept the same thing in my Google Drive, so you can access there. So there are two more in addition, which are the user guide from the Tessent. So one will be with respect to scan and ATPG process guide from Mentor Graphics. So of course it's a lengthy file, but the people who would like to go ahead, please have a look at it. It also gives some idea about the scan chain also and all those scan chain design. So this complete manual is about the scan chain, how to do that in the sequential logic or using the Tessent Tool. So you can just go through this one. Second is one more T shell underscore user. There is one more file. This is Tessent shell user manual. So this is also there. You can just go through. Someone on that day was asking about what is the do file. In fact, there are some discussions on how to, what is a do file, similar to that of a tickle file, which have a list of commands that need to be executed, like scripting. Right? It also says about what are the things, what are the modes. Like we have been discussing on three modes on that day: setup, analysis, insertion mode. Right? Like each and every command, they are different variant of that command. Uh, how are they? What are they trying to do? All these details are there. Again, this comes around 100 pages, I believe. So you need not, at least you go through the set of commands which we are using, look into that for a better understanding. Like why do we do flattening, all this, different attributes of the commands. Anyway, the set of comments, whatever I have given, at least you look at those comments and their attribute from this manual. So I wish you to go through this one. In fact, there was also a topic for how to write a do file. So I have kept this also in my drive. Please go through that. Yes, I just stop there for want of time. because it's around 100 and 200 pages, so I don't want to get into that. Okay, that essence has been taken out. Now this is what we are discussing now. Right, coming back. So first thing I said, go for scan insertion, apply ATPG, test generation on that, and then find out what is that overall test coverage. So the single command to do this is this command, that is Tessent underscore shell. This is the command to invoke the tool, as we have seen earlier. Again, minus do file. This is for invoking a do file. Here the do file is S298. S298 is the no module name, right? Underscore dft dot do file. This is the do file for scan insertion. So we have two do files. One for insertion of scan, right? So this is our first do file, which take care of replacing all flip-flop with the scan flip-flop, or it is nothing but no scan insertion. And the log file is being stored at log1. And again, this is nothing but my command. Hyphen log file name is log1. So we are trying to replace if you run multiple times. Then all the other things are same, very similar to what we have seen in the combo logic. Set context. Here the context need to be set to dft hyphen scan. Again, you need to read the file. What is your input file? .v file is S298. This is our benchmark circuit file. Their netlist need to be read over here. So using this command, you can read this netlist. Second, technology library. Yes, here you need one more addition file, not only .v file. You need a technology file for the same. So that's why I said this particular library is being done with 65 nanometer. The technology file comes with an extension of MDT, right? This file is also there in the library. Before executing those set of commands, I want you to make sure that first check whether all these files are available. Otherwise, we will end up with an error. Right. So first you read .v file, then you are supposed to read the library file, that is read underscore cell library. Why this cell library is required? Because you are using a flip-flop whose corresponding standard cell library is required for the same. So that library comes as TCBN65 G flash ppwp .mdt. This is the file name of the technology library. This file is also available. I will show you in the folder which is used by us. Then the other command is set design current design. Yes, of course, the current design is yes 298. That will be a current design top of module. And make sure the analyze control signals. Control signal is basically your clock signal will be the control signal, as we have already seen. To control all the flip-flops, you have one of the primary input as your control signal. That's your clock. So this is for add clock 0 clock. Like this is to find out whether how many clocks are there. It will list out all those things. Then clock design rules. I mean check design rules. It looks for is there any violation in the design. If that is there, then we have seen no DFT violations. If there is any violation, it will start reporting it. Then that particular .v file or the design need to be appropriately corrected in order to rectify this DFT violations. Now, this is the original command. That's what we are speaking about. Insert test logic. Test logic, what do we mean is modify all the flip-flop with the scan flip-flop by the insertion of a mux, right? A mux based scan D flip-flop. That's what we have discussed in our theory. The same thing here also. Next, you are supposed to report. These are the report commands which has been used to report the total number of scan chains, total number of cells. Then with this, the first task part A is over. Of course, you are writing them in an output file. Like the output file is scan underscore S298.B. Again, the corresponding ATPG setup over here. So you can write these two files. In fact, you can also open. Once you give this report, you can also visualize in the screen itself. The next part is, okay, you have replaced flip-flop with scan flip-flop. The second part is you are supposed to apply the test pattern generation and apply on the overall sequential circuit. So that's what we are expecting to do. Very similar to the one which we discussed. Yes, you can go ahead with the single command. But what I want is, don't execute this command in a single line, right? Because you will not learn that. Otherwise, you need to write a do file and do, right? Anyway, whatever the task which we are giving, make sure that you write a do file, or you give appropriately line by line all the single command one by one, so that you could visualize what's happening in each and every step. So again, this portion of that particular command is used for invoking this do file. Here the do file is S298 underscore ATPG.do. Right. Again, log file, you are storing that in the log underscore pattern. Next, what are the step-by-step commands? Set, you are making that in the scan mode. Read the file, then read the cell library, set current design, then this do file with the ATPG, that is generation of ATPG, create patterns. You are creating a pattern for that and apply that pattern. Then list out what are the faults, similar to that of what you do with combo logics. So it will report what are the fault, basically deterministic simulation testable fault, and it gives the statistics like what is the fault coverage. You can also write all those in a separate file, like in a .v file or a ASCII file, like total number of fault generated and how many are tested. Right. So these two, with this we are winding up the Tessent tool. In fact, I want you to now don't go by the same thing whatever I taught you and use. I want you to go few more steps behind this and explore what are the possibility of Tessent. Right. In fact, you can execute multiple things using Tessent. I want you people to look into those two user guides and see anything beyond this can we execute, because all these things we self-learn most of the things. And being a PG student, I want you to go ahead to step beyond this and find out a couple of, so this we have done for every year. We keep on improvising certain new thing that could be added up, right? So using the manual. So I want you to go ahead one more step to look at the manual, because in the manual you have multiple options to carry out. Take some more exercise and do that. Anyway, we will also give the DA2, beyond which I want you to work out. Already I heard that the login has been created for you in the Mentor Graphics. I believe everyone will be having the login. By default, the password would be student, so you can go ahead and access this Tessent tool. Right. Yeah, coming back, let's go to the tool and see what could be done. Yes. So again, I just went on to my Metagraphy server. Yes, as I said, I am working on with this location, right? User, home, user, RST, Tessent underscore workshop. Please see whether this particular folder is there or else by the other name. But ultimately you need to check whatever the file names, whatever we are using there, should be available in your login. So let's list out what's there in that. So as I said, there are three main folders. Because there is a readme, you can just use a more option to read what is being said. So DFT combo we have seen earlier. Let's look into DFT sequential. Now let me long list all the files which is available with this. Mainly we are looking for S298 atpg.do, that file is there. Apart from that, pattern, all right, so that is also there. So I think S298.b file is also there. So we have used S298 .b file, that is benchmark circuit file. As I showed you, there are long list. You may, I may give you some other benchmark circuit also, or you may try with a couple of benchmark circuits, for the same process. Yes, so this is the technology library TCB. You could see here BN65, which is of MDT file format. Okay, now let's try to invoke the Tessent tool. Tessent, right? So let's go by the single command. For the want of time, I'm just going with the single command usage. Tessent -shell do file name. Let's give S298 underscore, it's an underscore, right? dft.do, yeah, that file is there. Then -log file, you can give it as log1 -replace. So you can give any name for that, doesn't matter. So yeah, let's see. So there is one do file with respect to the sequential logic, that is S298 underscore dft.do file. This file is there, and I am writing the log file in this location, log1. Okay, let's go ahead and see what's happening. Okay, fine. So this is the first part of this task, which means it should insert all the scan or replace all flip-flop with the scan flip-flop. Let's see what is the thing being done by this. So it is invoking the tool. First command, set command dft -scan. So you are putting the mode in scan mode. Then read the Verilog file that's present in the current location. Then read cell library, MDT file is being read. Then you could also see here set current design has been made. The top module is S298, that's being made. Then you have added clock, 0 clock. So means in case we try to locate what is the control pin, particularly clock control pin, under what name it is there. Then check design rules. We are trying to find out, is there any violations. If there is a major violation, then this will not go further. So but still you have two warnings, that is FN1, FN4. These are the violations that happens, but they are warning, but still we can skip it out. After doing that, you are flattening this. Cell instant is 75. We have seen maintaining a design in hierarchy or flattening them, right? There are 75 gates, 114, primary input 6, primary output 6, all this. So begin circuit learning analysis. So begin scan chain identification process. So it has identified there are 14 memory elements. Basically, they are the flip-flops. Now those need to be replaced with scan chain. That's what we begin. Scannable cell rules, that is 4 non-scan memories elements are there. That's the identification made. There's 14 non-scan memory element identified as scannable. You can make this as scannable and begin scan clock rule checking. So this is what it is being done. Being shift register identification process for 14 sequential instruments. So for all the flip-flops, it is trying to come up with scan chain. Number of targeted sequential instances is 4. So we are for this 14, not for 14, you are giving this command insert test underscore logic. Means you are trying to replace the flip-flop with scan flip-flop. So begin scan cell distribution process and scan allocation is being done with the clock flattening model. Then finally it has listed out how many scan, but scan in a one chain. One chain means we are looping up all the 14 flip-flop in a single chain. In fact, you can have multiple scan chains which can run at different frequency too, right? So in a single scan chain, these are the cells, these are the cell name, these are the path, right? So these are the dummies, means you are replacing all the sequential circuit flip-flop with scan flip-flop. They have been commonly controlled by the clock. So this table lists you, so cell totally 14 flip-flops we said, so 0 to 13, so 14, all has been grouped under a single chain, chain number 1, and the corresponding path is given, cell name is given, and scan out and the clock signal is given, and what polarity is also given. That's all. Finally, it is listed out and written in a file the total sequential elements and their corresponding flip-flops replaced by the scan flip-flop. Now next we need to apply ATPG for this. So of course you can do it one by one, or you can write that as a do file and invoke it. Now let me get out of this insertion and invoke the do file for ATPG. I'm trying to do the second part of it. That is, now this part is over. Test pattern generation for sequential circuits. Now let's try to look into this one. So Tessent hyphen shell hyphen do file. The do file here is S298 underscore ATPG dot do. Then log file can be log any name and replace. So this is what we are expected to do. Tessent underscore shell hyphen do file atpg dot do log file. Okay, that's fine. Let's try to execute this. So let's try to see what has happened after that particular command. Yeah. So once you execute this command, that is do file with respect to ATPG, yeah, what you could see here is set context. You are making that in scan mode, reading the file, then reading the library, then set current design, then adding the clock, then add scan chain groups, right? There are only one scan chain group, So you have added that, or it means that it has been replaced with the scan chain, single scan chain, checking for any violation. And once you make sure, you convert that to analysis mode, because we have seen whenever you want to apply the ATPG, you need to put that in analysis mode. So here it has been kept in analysis mode. So once you keep it in analysis mode, now you apply the test vectors, generate the test vectors and apply the test vector. That's what create patterns. This create pattern will generate the list of um, deterministic test vector. Apply that to the circuit. Now this is the table which gives you the consequence of that. Simulation performed on 131 grades. Fault is 501, which is basically the stuccut faults. Mode which you have kept is analysis mode. And then pattern is you are generating for the internal pattern, like internally you are trying to test each and every node. Then, like first it is moving on with 11 deterministic test vector. The coverage happened to be 88.94. Number of fault listed is 67. Fault detected. This is total number of fault in list invoked with the 67. Fault detected in combo and sequential it is 434. Patterns is 11. So 11 pattern. The time taken has been given. So this went for an iteration with 27 deterministic test pattern. This gives you a fault coverage of 100, and it also lists you out how many test patterns. So 27 is the test pattern which has been given. Now what you could see here is a statistical report on stuccut faults. Like there are 501 DS fault, deterministic simulation fault, and 105 deterministic implication fault. Unused fault there are 4. Fault coverage happened to be 100. Sorry, 99.3. Full test coverage it is 100. Test coverage is means like how many test vector has been used. Completely you have used all that. ATPG effectiveness is 100. Test pattern 27, and CPU time is 2.1. So the same thing has been listed out here for the second iteration. This comes as 501, 105, 4. So the total test time is 2.1. So totally you get 100% fault coverage. I mean test coverage. Fault coverage happened to be 99.34. So this has been here in the dot file, very similar to that of what you get from the compo logic. That's all. I have shown you how to generate the test vector and apply that for a combo logic, sequential logic, and find out the fault coverage. So I want you to go through this. Any doubt in this one, you can just ask me. Otherwise, we are given step-by-step procedures for all, and I have also kept these 2 tutorial there. Please look into that also.
Sir, we can take any benchmark circuit.
Yeah. Of course, in the
Here you are taking 298.
yes, you can go with anything. You can go with anything.
Okay.
Probably in the first DA which I have submitted. In fact, I recommend you to go with any new circuits. That's not a problem. For the first DA, I think I have given one combo logic. Let me see what is the DA given here. Yeah, I think given this one. So I have determined the test pattern using the path sensitization for fault stuck at 1 on the line E. So in the combo logic, there are three subdivision. You can create a fault at any particular node. So for this particular Verilog code, you are expected to make a fault here. Calculate the number of fault sites, report the obtain the result from the Tessent. So you are supposed to do that. Perform the following steps for three larger ISCAS 89 historic Verilog STL. Provide your inference on various stages like pattern generation, pattern simulation. This is for a combo logic, right? You check with the combo logic and the sequential logic. Sequential logic will be the second part of it. Now you can do with the only combo logic for the DA1. Any doubt? So the
No.
deadline is 10th. Okay, so that's all. Hereafter we can go with what's time up.
Sir, and GitHub, it's not allowing us, mean the deadline is over, sir, so we are not able to upload.
Is it? Okay, so then I will take care. You keep the document ready. Probably I will change the deadline.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah, please answer your admins.
One present, sir.
Two presents of.
Four present, sir.
5 present, sir.
6 present, sir.
7 present, sir.
8 present, sir.
9 present, sir.
10 present, sir.
11 present, sir.
13 present, sir.
14.
15 present, sir.
16 present, sir.
17 present, sir.
18 present, sir.
19 present, sir.
20 present, sir.
21 present, sir.
22 present, sir.
23 present, sir.
24 present, sir.
25 present, sir.
26 present, sir.
27 present, sir.
28 present, sir.
29 present, sir.
30 present, sir.
31 present, sir.
32 present, sir.
33 present, sir.
34 present, sir.
35 present, sir.
36 present, sir.
37 present, sir.
38.
39 present, sir.
40 present, sir.
41 present, sir.
42 present, sir.
43.
43 present, sir. 44 present, sir.
45 present, sir.
46 present, sir.
47 present, sir.
48 present, sir.
49 present, sir.
50 present, sir.
51 present, sir.
52 present, sir.
53 present, sir.
54 present, sir.
55 present, sir.
56 present, sir.
57 present, sir.
58 present, sir.
59 present, sir.
60 present, sir. 61 present, sir.
62 present, sir.
63 present, sir.
64 present, sir.
65.
66%, sir.
67%, sir.
Okay. Anybody else left out? Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day. Okay. Meet you in the next class.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.